Good afternoon, everyone. Clear skies in Holland. Rest of Europe, drought. We're supposed to have record crop production. Global wheat report. Down, down, down. Ukraine cargo refused by Lebanon. Bad corn. Carbon labels are coming. Food tax is what that means. How about lost cities? Forgotten civilizations? How long before we forget? We're going to need thermal units to heat our homes in the winter. Maybe not that many. But how about hyperinflated money for your fireplace? That's if you can withdraw it. Anything over 2,000 pounds, you must have permission. Israel banning the use of cash for purchases larger than 6,000 shekels, which is 1,852 US dollars. You've seen this story circulating. Northern Farm Training Institute now unable to sell any produce coming out of their own farm. Stand shut down. I can attest to something like this at the Amish farm. At the Mennonites where we shop, USDA came in and said, your eggs, you don't wash them. We don't inspect them. Your eggs are not at a USDA inspection facility. They're not allowed to keep them out in the open. You actually have to ask for the eggs, which they keep under the counter. It's almost like smuggled eggs at the Amish. And on the theme of rejected grain cargoes, the first Ukrainian 24,000 tons on a very small ship sneaking through the minefields released, but Lebanon rejected it. Now, the public answer is a 5-month delay. Word on the street, or international ocean, if you will, is black corn issues, which means substandard corn for animal feed. And that was the reason that they don't want to really give a bad reputation of exported corn available now. It's already tainted. That's not going to send a strong buy signal. So more than 5-month delay is the reason. And staying with another buyer of Ukrainian grains, Turkey. They only saw 81% inflation in July. And they're hoping it will fall to 70% by the end of 2022. And we're quibbling about 8 or 9% inflation in the States. That's 10x almost what we could experience. It can get rougher, let's say that. And checking in on Holland, still going strong, trying to keep the cows, trying to keep agriculture going. In the blue morning skies, nothing to see here. Steve Forbes warns a big financial crisis incoming. Meanwhile, the Fed raised rates again with the single biggest rate hike in 4 decades. Economists are forecasting that the Fed will panic and pivot, and they're going to start cutting rates again in 2023. Gold's going to soar. That's why Wells Fargo, Bloomberg, Goldman Sachs all forecast gold well above $2,000 an ounce. Ask yourself, do you really think big government's going to stop spending and the Fed's going to stop printing money? Call the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late. Mention the Adapt 2030 channel when you call. They're going to give you some great service. Patriot Gold Group has a no fee for life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver, and you may qualify for the no fee for life IRA. On qualifying rollovers, give them a call, 888-546-7020 to get your free investor guide today. And with the knowledge that Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs top-rated IRA gold dealer for 6 years in a row, it'd be good to talk to them. 888-546-7020. And now on with the video. And the notices are starting to go out across Denmark, Germany, Holland. There's going to be an increase because of gas delivery halting, 19% immediately. Letter sent out, nothing you can do about it. UK's raising prices, and everywhere you see, they're getting hit, stuck with an inflation tax of uncontrollable means. It is force majeure. And another drip feed to get ready for. Carbon food labels may be coming. Let's scratch out the may. will be coming. So here's what they mean. They're going to give you a rating on the carbon input, the transportation, miles or kilometers from the field to your plate. And the rating is high, medium, low, from agricultural practices to the actual transportation, and then also for you to prepare it, how much energy it takes you to turn that into an edible form on your plate. So there's 3 different ratings that go into each final stability rating or sustainability rating. And of course, Carbon Trust putting the survey results out here. They're paying for the survey, they're getting the results. The full 2020 survey, 2/3 of consumers from countries including France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Spain, the UK, and the US are supportive of the idea of having carbon labeling on all food items. I certainly wasn't included in that survey because I was sent this article and I thought it was a recent article going along with all the other rises in prices and tariffs put on because of non-deliveries. Now they're going to start taxing your food based on the carbon footprint. And this is where personal carbon allocations comes in after the central bank digital currency issuance. So the food that you buy is also going to have a tax associated with it on what the input is in terms of fertilizers and machines to get that to what they call the farm gate. That's from the field where it goes to a truck or a warehouse that's then ready to on-sell it. That takes it to the supermarket where you are, processing facility. Then from there, every step of energy is going to be calculated in that from the farm to your plate. And that will be added up, and there's some magic formula in there and says, lo and behold, you don't owe me an extra $1 for that bunch of carrots just because we grew it for you. We got it to market for you. Now we're going to charge you for it. You can either say no and not eat, or you pay the tax. It's going to be coming in every way, shape, and form. Anything you buy, from a glass to this microphone to the mic stand, whatever it is, that glass jar behind holding the dried lemons, there's going to be a tax on that. Everything you could possibly purchase is going to have a carbon allocation tax with it. So get ready. They're drip feeding it like they're drip feeding everything else. And the smugness, consumers may need carbon labels to make the right choice. Hey, I'm going to make my own choice. Don't determine whether it's right or wrong. It's my choice, not yours. So some countries are waiting for customers to ask, please, please, please give a carbon tax. We need the carbon tax on every product we buy. Please, please, please give it to us. Carbon labeling means eventual carbon taxes. It's the public's gut feeling. It's absolutely terrible when it comes to judging. We just don't know which steps of food production created the most emissions. We want to pay for that every step of the way. Why not just add another consumption tax on everything we eat? Sounds good to me. See, everybody supports it. Didn't you know? That's what the survey said. You're not supporting it. You're bad. So we're going to jump back in history here. Money became cheaper than firewood and coal in 1923 Germany. So they would burn piles of money instead of wood. If you compress that, you absolutely could burn that. Which brings me to a couple articles here that I've been given and flashed off of some Telegram channels that said, hey, check this one out here. Primary aim is to keep customers safe and secure, so we don't want to allow you to withdraw your own money because we are so concerned about your safety if you're walking around with cash that you could get robbed or you could get scammed. Fraud. So we're going to ask you a lot of questions about the purpose of your cash withdrawal. Please give us supporting documentation such as an invoice. We won't give you the money just to go buy stuff. You're going to have a provable invoice of what you're going to go buy it with before we give you the money. That's a semi-soft bail-in right there. It's advisable to give 24 hours notice on large cash withdrawals, over 2,000 pounds. That is not a large cash withdrawal if you're going to buy something on a farm. If you're going to buy a used piece of equipment, machinery, that is not a large amount of cash at all. Actually, I wish I could get something for that low price of 2,000 pounds that I need to run on the farm here. That would be a bargain. And moving over to Israel, they're also banning cash purchases for anything larger than the new shekel, 6,000 shekels, which is $1,852 as of writing today. So when you're looking at countries and banks now limiting what you can use for cash. We're at the very end of cash itself. As you can see where it's moving to, everything's going to be digital, digitized. Money uses your carbon allocation to be able to buy things, and this is the whole world transitioning into this. The collapse and crash will come first. You can't have two dual systems running. There must be unison thought that there is only one system. That's it. We're at the end of the road. And when this collapse might occur is anybody's guess, but if you were going to use common sense, by the end of the year. So many signs are pointing to it. Now this crash needs to be all-encompassing across all markets to wipe everything and scratch it down to zero, so people will be begging for a new system, so something will return to normal, so their lives will not be so traumatized. They will be begging for the new system of any system that allows purchase of anything again. Unless you're producing it yourself or trading with somebody else, there's not going to be much available. Think Great Depression plus Roman era collapse plus 535 AD were three major volcanic eruptions of explosivity index 8+, cooled Earth's temperatures for 10 plus years, and there was mass famine. Now roll all those three things in together and then destroy the supply chain, erase what you know as money, and then, hey, are you ready to get the new system up and running? And you'll be like, yeah, please, please, please. That's how bad it needs to get. And that's the plan, really. Because all these things to bring it in, right now there would be too much opposition to it. But it's going to be an all or nothing play. And here it goes. All is coming down this fall and winter. Especially when the realization hits of the ash that's in the atmosphere in the southern hemisphere, when crops are not going to be able to be grown to alleviate any way, shape, or form shortages. It's actually going to increase the shortages because they're not going to be able to grow as much in the southern hemisphere. Get ready, take a deep breath, because that giant 100-foot wave is about to crest on top of us. And staying on the theme of food, Germany. Wheat harvest is going to decrease 1% this year. Some areas suffered from the heat wave, cutting yields, but other areas were reasonable. Yields rose 4%. Okay, take it with a grain of salt. Now keep these in mind, the 1% and the yields rising 4%. So that looks like it's good growing conditions. French weather forecast. Remember, Germany and France, they share a border there. They're in the same region. I mean, you could spit from one to another. French weather forecaster Matteo, which is actually a pretty good site for weather anomalies, noted that the country's driest since 1961. So literally kilometers away, and it's good yield, reasonable, and the same few kilometers backward, it's the biggest drought since 1961. Rivers are dried up. There's no shipping, and their grain production is going to fall 5.6%. So let us look at the severe drought affecting Europe. So 45% of all the EU is exposed to warning levels. So where you see color, crops are struggling. It's an easy ratio on that one. But everybody says, David, you're not balanced. You're always focusing on the crop losses. You're never focusing on the record production. So let's go from drought over to Death Valley, getting a year's worth of rain in a couple hours. Major flash flooding. Once in a 1,000-year storm, another one? Okay. That's balanced. I think so. So this is what I'm talking about. USDA and these crop reporting agencies, whether it's in Europe or whether it's the States or whether it's CONAB in Brazil, whatever, they're there to stabilize markets. They're not there to give you the truth. Because you're looking at a serious drought situation where the rivers are so dry they can't even send barges on the rivers any longer. That's how dry it is. Shipping traffic has stopped on the Rhine River and many rivers across France. That we're supposed to believe that Germany is going to increase their production 4%. You're going to have to piece together information yourself, because what's being given out there public to stabilize markets and avoid panic is contradictory to just simple fact on the ground. So do your own study carefully. Links are in the description box below so you can do just that. And as always, looking at lost history, we're talking about the British explorer Alfred Isaac Middleton. This is a well-known explorer. He went to the most remote places that were literally off the map. When you looked at those old maps and there was just something in the middle that said unknown, that's where he went. areas in Amazon, areas in Africa, areas in Southeast Asia, way in the late 1800s. Fabled explorer. So these are some of the images and graphics that were coming out of his collection. So as I look at this, that is very realistic in the way that if it was softer stone, it could have been carved. There's temples on the left, very Greek looking, carved into the mountains, level upon level. And it just depends really how hard that stone is and if you could work it with simple tools. Because if you go to Cappadocia, which is in Turkey, Goreme, and then Derinyenku is very close to their underground city, you'll start to see some of the very same ideas of carving out mountains up the face to create structures out of it. And this is in Saudi Arabia as well. Notice the mud flood level there at the doorway height. They unburied that. A lot of soft stone structures can be carved out of. So there is validity to what we're seeing in that lithographs. And accompanied with the photo collection here, I don't have a location on this, but it is so interesting that I needed to share. It does show you people standing or statues, whatever those would appear to be. And if it was workable stone or if there was some sort of overhanging cliff structures, this is exactly what we're seeing. But then we get into a little bit different woodworking canopy here. And if you do have information on where the location was, I know it was prior to 1901 when he disappeared. So this would have been late 1890s, somewhere around that time. And the one that I had to shake my head and think, how did they carve this? But if you're looking with something soft, limestone, and it does appear that they're going back into a cave directly back on the bottom left there, that is a cave entrance. Above the cave, below the cave, in the cave gives credence to those running from plasma discharge in our atmosphere and heavens would definitely be able to live through an event if they were to be this close, living above and below and having the observatory at the apex of that structure. The world's hidden. How many times has it been reset? I do thank you for watching. We are going to need storable foods right now. My Patriot Supply and Adapt 2030. 3-month emergency food supply. Take $150 off. Use the promo code in the description box below. I do thank you for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Please share with your friends and family. Start the conversation. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.